This is Fox Sports The Gambler. I'm Mike Powers from The Divide Live. I have a special guest here, Eric Hosmer. Some of you may know him, Major League Baseball four-time Gold Glove winner, right? Unfortunately, well, fortunate for him, unfortunate for my fandom, which is the Mets, 2015 World Series champ. And Eric, I want to go right into that because, I know we're here to promote your amazing new media company, your new podcast and stuff like that. But that play... you're an amazing first baseman, and I teach first base to high school kids, and I was fortunate enough to really know the art of first base. But that play, when you're going down the line on third base, right, takes the ground ball, which obviously was way off the bag. Maybe should have let Wilmer field it. What's going through your mind when you're looking at that as a first baseman too, knowing the play and the difficulty of it?
Yeah, first off, I've definitely gotten to meet a lot of Mets fans worldwide, and I'm a lot more familiar with how many Mets fans there are worldwide now, especially after that 2015 year. But, the play, I've always credited the coaching staff and everyone that, helped us with scouting reports and preparing for that series because, as a player, it's on the fly. You're going from one game to the next. You're going from one series to the next, so you don't really have much time to watch the games, watch the teams before playing them. And in that series before playing the Mets, there was obviously we knew that a lot of their guys were banged up. David especially, he was playing with a lot of injuries, playing through stuff and gutting it out. So, we really wanted to apply pressure on him any kind of way we can, especially on the base pass. And, that was just a move that I think the instincts took over because of all that preparation and all the talk of us being aggressive. And, the initial start of it started like a good idea. About 2 to 3 strides into me running home, I realized it was a really bad idea. And then luckily the throw got away from Darno, and then it turned into be a good idea again. But that is one of the key plays of my career that stuck with me, and people always ask me about that.
Yeah, because I also thought about it. I was like, man, I used to thrive in high school and a little bit of community college ball. I used to thrive on that as a first baseman, that play, right? Third baseman throws it across the diamond and you got to throw it home. And it's also where you place the ball too, because you want to get it down as low as you can for the catcher on that slide, so he has a shot to try to get you out. It was just, I was like, of course, the Gold Glove first baseman is the one that makes that play and knows, that he's capable of getting there. So it was just, for me, it was pretty cool. But, going into that, there was something you did with a friend of the show, Cliff Floyd, and it was pretty epic. And it was last year, spring training, I believe. And I show it to a lot of kids that I'm teaching and coaching and stuff like that. And it's really the difference between, one, your footwork at first base, but two, the difference between the bag now and the bag before, and how you were excited for the new bag. I know your career is done now, but that you had a couple years with the new big bag, or a year and a half, I should say. What was your feelings towards it as a first baseman?
Yeah, Cliff has been I've been a huge fan of Cliff ever since growing up down here in South Florida and getting to know him, breaking into the big leagues a little bit. And then now just getting to know him over the years as he's worked in media. He's awesome, man. But yeah, the new big base, I think it's obviously going to help for some injuries over there. That could get mixed up when there's a close play. You got to go across the fair foul line and the runner's coming. But, first base was my home. That was my position ever since I was, 10 years old. So I was extremely familiar with all the different type of throws, all the different type of angles, different type of stuff that's going to happen over there at the position. So that's something I just continue to try and learn and try and grow. And, throughout the career, I've had different plays where I've had to do different things with the foot or with my footwork. But the bigger bag definitely simplifies a lot of that. And I think it's going to limit, a lot of those little collisions that could potentially happen. And, I think it's best for both parties, the runner and the first baseman at that point.
Also, so before we run out of time, I have to, everybody at Fox Sports Philadelphia was like, tell Eric we said hi to Casey. We're the home of Villanova basketball and football, and we know your wife very, very well, and we all feel like we're a fan of hers. So if you guys are ever in the Philadelphia market, come through the iHeart Studios, and we'd all love to have you guys there. I want to talk about
Oh
Moonball.
man, I definitely would. I joke with her all the time. We were dating for a couple years. We broke up for 1 year, and the 1 year we broke up, apparently it was public knowledge. But every time we ran through Philadelphia, man, the fans would let me hear it, and they let me know I was making a big mistake. So we
That's
know Philadelphia loves Case. Case loves Philadelphia. She loved her time there. But yeah, we would definitely love to pop in and see all you guys.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's one thing I learned being a Met fan in Philadelphia. Like they are very very passionate, but it's like kind of like you can't mimic it anywhere else. Is there any other fan base while I have you there that you're like, man, this is very unique, whether you played for them or not? You're like, man, you don't really want to cross them.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last two seasons of my career, I bounced around a couple different places, and I got to experience Boston. I got to experience Chicago with the Cubs, and you talk about two unique fan bases and two amazing places, but huge markets and the difference between those. I always tell people, that second half of a season in Boston, we were there one game, and Xander Bogaerts was, 4 for 4, going on his fifth at bat. And he hits a line drive. The guy catches it. He gets out. He's walking back to the dugout. And, fans are like, hey, Xander, you better lock it in next time for that fifth at bat. You come on, you're better than that. And I'm like, man, this is a tough crowd. And then you go over to Chicago the next year, first couple games. We drop the first couple games. And, we're leaving Wrigley Field. And the fans are like, hey, it's okay, guys. We'll get them tomorrow, So I'm like, man, this is a unique experience right here. Two huge fan market bases and two just complete different personalities, but I definitely got to appreciate both of them. You just understand how into it the fan is, and I think overall, when you see how into it the fans are there, that's where the appreciation just continues to grow.
This is another question that I've had the ability to ask Todd Frazier and Cliff Floyd. So I wanted to get your take on it. Is there a ballpark where you're slumping, like you can't wait to get there because you could easily get out of a slump?
Man, I had some good times in Minnesota. I don't know if my numbers are like off the charts there, but I always felt comfortable there. I always felt like I could see the ball real well. I always felt like I was going to leave that game with a hit or two. And, that was somewhere on the schedule, especially in the division. Back in the AL Central days when, we're going to Cleveland facing Kluber, Bauer, Carrasco. Then we're going to Chicago facing Sale, Quintana. Minnesota had some good pitchers as well, but just a mixture between how you see the ball at the ballpark and you're facing a little bit of, less arms, not Cy Young type quality arms. So maybe that was a little bit of comfort for me heading there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're starting something that I feel like baseball needs, right? And that's Moonball Media, and more also, your podcast, Digging Deep. You already made some awesome content. It's only a week in, if I'm correct. And I've already seen you talk about, hey, when you hit that walk-off base hit, make sure you touch second if you want a little bit more money or hit those things. So tell me all about that, how it's going, and, what your plans are for that in the future.
Yeah, so Moonball Media, the overall media company, there's a bunch of different layers to it, but what I'm really honed in on and focused in on is the Digging Deep podcast and the Dig Inside of the podcast. Where eventually we have Digging Weekly, where we're going to talk about little more things that are current on the game, like the walk-off single that guys hit and don't end up touching second base. And that's something that I'm really enjoying and I'm having fun. I want to stay connected to the game in some kind of way. Towards the end of my career, I always found myself, when I'm not playing every day, kind of migrating to the younger guys and really trying to help them out and keep them prepared and ready for their opportunities. So I wanted to expand that a little bit and help out as many young guys as I can, not just the guys that I know that have the ability to shoot me a text message or an Instagram message. So just trying to expand that any way I can. The Digging Deep side of it, we get to go into, a lot of unique stories, get to share some insight from players on their path to the big leagues, their path to success, and sometimes when they had some adversity that knocked them down, how they responded to it. And then the Digging Weekly side is going to be, just that, a little more reaction to the game, to what's happening in current events. And the walk-off single, that's funny you bring that up because, I've watched a couple games now where it's happened and I'm like, man, I got to share this on X. And now it's happened a couple more times after that. And obviously the players haven't seen it yet, but a lot of the fans are starting to be a lot more engaged, saying, man, that was the first thing I thought of. But that guy didn't hit second. He cost himself a double. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun exchanges on X, going back and forth with fans. And everyone always says, you're going to miss that locker room banter. You're going to miss that locker room talk and all that type of thing. And I've tried to bring that to X a little bit with the baseball world. And so far, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one last thing. Like, obviously, you announced officially your retirement. Congratulations. Two, I'm born in 85. You're like 88, 89, I believe, if I'm correct. So it's like a bummer watching my guys now, retire, like people that I could have actually played in high school against and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but also, like, how do you feel about that? Like, one, I think that I noticed, at least with Todd Frazier, right? He was in Pittsburgh. He got DFA'd. He ended up going to the Olympics. He felt like he still had more gas in the tank. Like, was this your decision, or was this like the game saying, well, we don't like, we'd rather try a younger guy or give somebody who we don't have to pay as much? Granted, you're guaranteed money, so it's a little bit different for you, right?
Yeah, it is different. It's a unique situation. You're exactly right. I think at the end of the day, I think there could have been more opportunities for me to go out and make a team, for me to go out and fight for a position on one of these, with one of these organizations. But at the end of the day, I just truly felt that, not to take anything away from any of these roster spots, because they're extremely valuable and I appreciate them. I really do. But I just felt like I could be more valuable to the game in a way of just being more than that 26th man on the roster, the guy that's not playing, every day, and the guy that's really just kind of being an extra coach on the bench there. So I wanted to expand on that as much as I can. And this is something that I feel like can keep me in tune with the game. It can continue to have me pass certain things down on youngsters in the game, or coaches that are coaching these youngsters, whatever it is. So, that's where the inspiration for Moonball Media came, and especially the inspiration for Digging Deep. So going to ride with it as long as I can. And, hopefully the people enjoy it. Hopefully it continues to grow our beautiful game, because, for me, I'm no dummy without baseball. None of this is possible. None of the stuff I've gotten to experience in my life is possible. So I always feel like I got to give back to the game, and this is going to be my way of giving back.
All right, well, Eric, thank you, man. And for fans out there right now, you could check him out. Podcast is everywhere right now, Digging Deep Podcast, and check out, everything that he's got going on with his new media company. So congrats to you. Tell Casey we said hi, and, keep doing it, man. I can't wait to watch more content.
Will do, Mike. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you. All right, there's Eric Hosmer. Pretty awesome. Check out Moonball Media. Check out Digging Deep Podcast. Like I said, he's already sharing stuff that I can't believe that's going on. Whether, it's just that simple fact. And I know you got to check out how he described it on his show. But pretty much like a walk-off, everybody celebrates that single. It could have been a double. Could have even been a home run if you're Robin Ventura in the playoffs. But if the player actually just touches second, he gets recorded for a double, and that could help him with his stats, with his contract, with a lot of things, and actually put a lot of money and a lot of zeros in the bank account. So Eric's sharing those little things on Moonball Media. More importantly, Digging Deep Podcast. You could see it weekly where podcasts are everywhere, and on YouTube. So check him out. He's an amazing guy. And I can't wait to keep doing some content with him. So we'll be right back on Fox Sports The Gambler. This is Mike from The Divide Live.